Keep in mind, the original idea was to stop that. Hey everyone, Kyle from Cosplays from Trash. And though I have been to a con dressed as Xmas Harley Quinn, and I've also done a Trash After Dark, I forgot to talk about how I made it from trash. This is not trash. These are my Pokemon plushes. Thank you to anyone who's gotten me one. You may ask, why am I not in my recording studio? Or why am I in my bed? Because sometimes you don't want to get out of bed because you're having a bad day. Anyway, let's talk about how I made Harley Quinn. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and also send me $30 trillion. Thank you to all my patrons over at Patreon who continuously support me through all of my craziness that goes on. Trash After Dark is thankfully a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was pretty nervous about it, thinking I was like, no one's going to like this. And then stop falling over. We're gonna start with the pants because the pants gave me the most grief. I am not the world's best seamster, sewist, crafter. I mean, a lot of the skills that I've learned have very much been like I do it like a trashy way, and then I kind of eventually figure out how to do it a little bit better. Pants are something that I have made a decent amount of shorts and pant adjacent things, but never made that many pants from scratch. So I decided, oh, let's make a complicated version of the pants. When you're cutting pants and you're working with multiple colors, it's always important to know what side of the fabric is the right side, aka outside, and the wrong side, aka inside. When you're cutting in multiple colors, you have to make sure that you have the right number of pieces that are oriented in the right way. And when you have two pant legs, you're constantly doing the opposite of an opposite. I wanted to bisect it as much as possible. The knee-ish area and up, like so there'd be an up and down, then there's the left and right leg, and then there's the front and back. I wanted to alternate every quadrant so that there were no two matching quadrants that were connected to each other. So that would mean on the right leg, you'd have red, black, black, red, and that flipped on the other side. I messed up on that when I was cutting, and I had a very limited amount of this red. Work with trash, and so sometimes you run out of things. The jacket is also made with the red, but on the inside of the jacket, on some of the back paneling, it is technically a different color red, but I kind of hid that. I did not have enough to make more with the pant. I was a little disappointed and frustrated. This pants pattern that I got, it is supposed to be either gender neutral or male, like the models on it are all male. To make it PG appropriate, when I initially made these, they did not have male anatomy in mind. So I ended up adding an extra wedge in front and kind of just put that in there.
I guess this shows the lines a little bit better, but I'm just worried, like, it kind of looks like, I've seen this kind of style before where you kind of have a crotch patch and it's like kind of sexual, but I don't know, is it okay?
I mean, what's a mansion without a ballroom? That was funny. I can be clever. The black was tablecloth. The red, I think, were pillowcases. It was a matching set of pillowcases. And so the original idea was to do the opposite, not quadrants, because it's like octrants, I guess, in this case. The idea was to bisect the leg horizontally at roughly the knee. You can see from the photos, I did not have enough red, and there's a reason why it looks like that. That's not the original design in my head. With the jacket, thankfully, I cut things out in the right way, so I had enough to alternate everything. And so I did have to modify both a pants and a vest pattern, kind of like after I made it. I don't know how to describe this really well, but when you sew something sleeveless and you want the sleeves to look nice, you don't make the inside and the outside and then fold it together because the sleeves are going to be gross. You have to do it in a different order. I can't explain things. The gloves, I actually made the gloves from scratch. Go me. Gloves are the devil. I really was gonna put the thumbs on it, but I actually like the exposed thumbs. The wrist gauntlet things. I had plenty of black, so I was able to make a sleeve with that, but I actually had to use a bandage style on the right arm, which was all of the red that I had left over from various projects, cut into roughly yard-long strips and then sewed the ends together there and then just wrapped it around my arm. Again, I ran out of red, and so not everything is the exact same color red, but oh well. And then at the top and bottom of my body, or the top, north and the south. I still have to do north, east, southwest every time. The hat, it's a Christmas hat that I've had for a while. I borrowed it from Yael. Shameless plug about my delusional clones that work at CFT. The shoes, I didn't make those shoes. I just spray painted a shoe red and spray painted the other black. I'm a winner. I don't know how to describe it, but there are these like squishy things that you can lay on that you inflate with air. I had a ripped one of those, and the belt is made from the boning of that, or the openings where air goes in. I really wanted to go for a really creative design and something that no one would see, so I took gold bolts and I, through this plastic, I connected with these bolts that I had to cut off and make really short which was a nightmare to do, by the way. Hid the connections was, you know, a baseboard? This is like the really floppy one that you find in restaurants. It's like water resistant. I guess it's made of rubber, but I don't remember why I had that. But like, that's a strip of that I had to cut, you know, fold over, and then basically just clip together for like 3 weeks to actually make it, or like actually keep its bend, because it always wanted to go back to the shape. The holster of the gun, I eventually just kind of freehanded it and ended up hand sewing some things to just like stick the gun in there. Some people maybe know with the infamous massage table that I found one time, that's disgusting. I did clean it, but it's still kind of gross when you think about it. You know, for being as averse to like gross things and wet and body, I dumpstered it, which is very odd. I don't get it either. I am not good at 3D modeling. I know that people that do it say, oh, it's not that hard. Since I do so much stuff already by myself, mine are Photoshops, like video editing. I've had to learn so many programs and things like that. I cannot learn more keyboard shortcuts right now. Like, I do not have the brain space in some programs where you're putting them together. And so let's say you have a flat rectangle and you want a hole in the center of it. You can take a cube, imagine the flat rectangle, and you put the cube in there so they're like together, and then you do a subtraction button and it like eliminates all the space where they're together, and now you have a rectangle with a square hole in the center. Anyway, I took a 3D model that I had found for free and modified it a little bit with some of those methods. So there's like nothing fancy. I distressed it, painted it myself. Look, I know some people obsess over details. There's some things I just can't care about. I'm like, that's fine. And honestly, since like my whole bit is like making things from trash, sometimes like accoutrements like this, where it's like, oh yeah, it's just a gun. I'm not like proud or unproud of it. I'm just like, that's nice. That's cool, I guess. The fun part was the hammer. And by fun, I mean, I've learned my lesson with some of the other props that I've made, like the Energizer Bunny and Magic. More than like 2 pounds is super heavy.
In case you were... Oh, bang! Ah, crap! On the stick. Aha!
I know that like if you've never carried around a thing for a while, you'll be like, oh yeah, 10 pounds, I could carry around something heavy. And no, it sucks. No, absolutely not. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. And so I wanted to make this as light as possible. There's lots of heavy ways to make it out of trash. There's lots of light ways to make it out of non-trash. Because I'm a bucket goblin, I'm that person that's like, ooh, I could keep this jar. And I do that with buckets too. A lot of buckets. After a fair amount of deliberating, like I really wanted to get one of those, I don't know what these are called. There's like some, but they're like very large cardboard. Maybe it's the thingies you like concrete holder thingy where you like put this cardboard in the ground and then you fill it up concrete and then you just rip away the cardboard or just keep it there or whatever, doesn't matter. I think that's what I wanted. I could not find that. So I cut 2 buckets, cut a slit down the middle of the bottom of both buckets so that when it went bucket, pull, bucket, the bases of the buckets were still touching. Very quickly, I realized there is no good way to make this stable and out of trash unless I do some just good old bolts and nuts. And so these two, I just drilled a bunch of holes and things, put a bunch of bolts and nuts in there to connect them. This is currently held together with 4 bolts. Like, it's relatively sturdy, but not obviously. We were locking this thing down because it didn't matter, and that worked out. That was great. However, and I kind of realized I should have thought about this better, the buckets are not always a perfect cylinder. It's more of a part of a cone. Right? So when I went to go put the foam layers on, that was a really annoying thing to do. If you peel off a cone, it is not going to be a perfect rectangle because it's more of a circle. I didn't really want to reverse engineer the math, so that is a lot of trial and error and cutting off. Why did I not care about this? Because it was a Christmas themed con and I didn't want to do a direct singular like present because I still wanted to be a hammer and have different weird elements of things. So it's like a combination of multiple Christmas things. I did want to give the illusion of a present. That worked out well. Even when I started wrapping it, I was like, I want to make it kind of look like a grip, but also a candy cane, but not like a direct candy cane homage, like be a little more subtle. Just used a lot of white and red there, and the red. I was like, this is going great. Everything's going great. Everything was great. Put a bow. Fantastic. This is going to be wonderful. The ends were not good. So I didn't think about this until as I was about to do it. I'm not the most accurate when it comes to cutting. I am just very bad at cutting things accurately. I'm just bad at it. I don't know why. I just am really bad at cutting things in straight lines. And from the infamous massage table, there is a circle of foam and then a ring of foam. The idea was to put the circle down and then the ring, cover all of this in wrapping paper, and then put it over the end so that the end was covered by this wrapping. Think of these as more of a cap on the end, and you want to make sure, if If you have a cylinder and you have a cap, think of more like a PVC pipe. You want to make sure that the cap goes down far enough to hide the end of the rough edges of the pipe. Because I was trying to keep this as light as possible, I didn't want to make the buckets, the part that I'm kind of like hiding, any heavier. And so we just glued this. Use wrapping paper to hide the ugliness of the cap, and using the Nice Now cap to hide the ugliness of the hammer edges. It was a difficult process. These were wrapping paper, but I wanted to give it a more of a Harley flair. So I made Batman with X's over his eyes and like tongue sticking out as if he got hit by the hammer. That was like probably the most fun part of the project. The videos prove that this actually stays together pretty well. Thank you, Hot Glue, for holding these edge of this candied cane / candy wrapper / present hammer. Mi Madre, she loves wreaths so much, and I don't know why. She like, you need a good wreath. I'm like, I don't need a good wreath, Mom. I don't. What do? You put them on doors. I'll put myself on a door. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, I ripped the holly / mistletoe or whatever out of this. Just had earring clippings. For the baubles, I had so many infinite designs for these little bombs. Actually, let me go get one because these are Christmas ornaments. And I did make it so it can detach, but it's a Christmas ornament with a, I don't know, water bottle cap, and it's either a shoestring or just a parachute cord, whatever it's called, just kind of glued together. I had to put paint on the inside and then just rotate this around for a while, which I made it too watery, and then I made it not watery enough. I made it too watery and then not watery enough. And that's how I made these. The makeup, it's kind of going for like a, not crazed look, but like someone that, it was very Harley-esque, like just like, it's almost like she has a little gun for her like eyeshadow, just like, haha, I'm doing that today. And so, yeah, the body paint, anyway, yeah, I'll get better at that. Ryan, my underpaid assistant, and now everyone said he's not underpaid because he got to paint me and paint my butt. And I'm like, is that payment? Like, that was work for her. Well, I guess, I mean, to me, that would be work, like, no offense to butts, but like, I don't want to paint a butt. He ended up being the hyena, so he was Bud, and I was Harley, and we had a fun time. Had the chain, got some questionable looks. But once again, thank you to everyone, specifically patrons, but everyone even that just watches YouTube. And because honestly, like, this is the stuff that we end up doing at Cosplay from Trash. Like, I wouldn't have like had the time, money, or motivation to make this costume and go to this convention and do things like this without people supporting me. Really awesome experience, and I'm really happy to be doing this and sharing the trash gospel, if you will, with people. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. See you next time. I love Cricketune. I don't know why, but I love Cricketune. Like, so keep doing this. That's fine. Kyle, it's Saturday. I didn't get murdered either. What does it mean by there's a cat in the cradle? Ignore the normies. Oh, that is really gross. Thank you again, Stefan, for getting me the sleepy ones. I didn't know that I would like Sleepy Squirtle as much as I did. I know, okay, it's a metaphor, and I don't get those sometimes. Let the sky fall. Gang, we did it. I figured out how to make gloves. Multiple people call me Sexy Mexy, and I'm like, I want to be offended, but I like that. Ditto. Oh, I hate sneezing. You're gonna be right here. Ditto's right here. Wow, wow, wow. Everyone do the bucket dance. Buckets, 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 buckets. Maybe I should throw myself into this sin bin. He's just a little guy. So this is my best friend Harrison's favorite Pokemon. I gave it to him in spirit. Arrivederci.